You don't need more access. You just need to remember how good it feels to slow down. While I was creating the surrounding content for this song, I began to consider the Chandrasekhar Limit from a different perspective. Instead of using it to verify the toxic habits causing us to overconsume to a point of fatality or futility, I began to consider the actions humanity used to execute well, the behaviors that acted as an antidote, a medicine that kept us at a point of sustainable homeostasis that was simultaneously thrilling, appropriately profitable, safe, relevant, and culturally sound. Initially, the more trivial and stereotypical images of love came to mind. Soldiers kissing their wives, hugging their kids, and traditional, predictable pictures of family. But those images don't present the solution. I began to analyze a reality more approximate to my own existence and to those around me. I exist as part of the last generation to live entirely before full digital saturation. When I look at that frontier, it's not about romanticizing a simpler time. It's about auditing our literal cognitive stamina. I think about playing outside as a kid, how chaotic, healthy, and beneficial it was, a highly kinetic exercise in social trust and physical negotiation, and how drastically that behavior has decreased today. I look at our current lack of digital privacy and the total erosion of presence, the ways I've turned myself into a hermit of sorts, avoiding my neighbors like the radioactive, walking past people in my community and refusing to get involved in even the most microscopic portion of their lives. I remember the way we used to talk on the phone, write in diaries, and practice raw analog social skills. We lived exactly 1 point below total digital saturation. We could talk to someone for hours without seeing their face, a boundary that held us in an optimum state. It preserved the necessary friction required to be absolutely over the moon when you finally got to see someone you missed. It kept our identity mass stable. I've abandoned the idea that these behaviors are connected to luxury, leisure, or wealth. You don't need an elite budget or a particular lifestyle to practice analog presence. You can be entirely broke and write a letter. Even when you look at these guys in their era and eras past, the collective belief was that we were working towards better. But as we sit on the precipice of the future and I look around, I have to ask myself, what exactly have we gotten better at? Our engagement with technology used to be bound by human scale. Video games not engineered for hyper-realistic escapism and isolated screen addiction, but for adventure, entertainment, and genuine side-by-side togetherness. I feel the shift in my own hands. It's gotten to the point that it's difficult for me to go 24 hours without seeking a high-voltage dopamine spike from something salacious on my phone. And committing to deep work feels like punishment. But before this collapse, our engagement with culture existed without the desperate, compulsive desire to monetize or broadcast the experience. We used to catalog family moments simply for the sake of remembering them, not to feed an algorithm. What I'm saying is that in a past not so far away, we had certain fundamental mechanics of human life figured out. It wasn't until very recently that we began to mindlessly gorge on the infinite access the internet granted us. To combat this collapse, we don't need a time machine. We just need to reclaim our analog presence by re-injecting those basic high-friction habits back into our daily lives. We have to train our analog minds right before we lose them entirely. Letter writing, voice-only phone conversations, walking or riding through your neighborhood and being seen, digging through the crates at a bookstore or a record store and letting a title find you, keeping a journal, taking a long, uninterrupted car ride listening to one CD instead of an algorithmic playlist, sitting in a living room with your friends and listening to an album front to back without being distracted by a screen, sitting on a porch or a sidewalk, conversing with your neighbor without checking the time. We have so many tools now to do so many things, but better, and enough knowledge to maybe do them the right way. And I get it. You're probably asking yourself, why would I do this? It's tedious, potentially inefficient, risky, and primitive. But our alternative is a cold, isolated, inhuman, digital vivarium. The animals in the wild haven't called it quits on the harmonious randomness of nature, and I believe we shouldn't either.